Everybody, this is chapter 5 this week. So make great decisions. A couple things I want to say about this chapter, even before I kind of give you my thoughts on the 3 beats of making great decisions. Uh, this chapter is the kind of stuff that really started to transform how clients saw me when I was coaching in corporate. It's Gallup's so in this book, which is why I love this book, they give you 3 beats of things. They give you like structures and frameworks. And so this chapter, hey, organizations are decision factories. Well, if we know the decision making, because that's the previous chapter, right? Make great decisions, bring teams together. Well, then how do you make great decisions? What does that look like? And so to have like a 3 beat in your head of like, well, this is what the research says. You might try this. And so they give you 3 pieces here, right? Know your limits, apply critical thinking, use analytic-driven decisions. Use analytics-driven evidence. Sorry. So what I really, it really stood out to me, especially on the know your limits, is this idea. They do talk through how intuitive some leaders can be, and they just kind of dive in. They're highly competitive. They put winning as short term over long-term objectives. The last line of this one: great decision makers are keenly aware of their limitations. So if you just want to dive in, and if you're, let's say, having a conversation about how great leaders bring teams together and make decisions, if that's something you're talking to your client about, and you're talking about decision making, you can always be like, step 1, you're coaching and probing for, does this client know the limits of their decision making? Do they know that they don't know some things? Or are they so intuition based? And so that last line, great decision makers are keenly aware of their limitations. Is your client keenly aware of their limitations? Like, that's a really interesting thing to think about, is that just that alone? Because if they express that they know everything, I would be concerned. And so you want to probe into that of like, okay. And in fact, probing into that is the next 2 steps. I really feel like know your limits is the first one. And the way you kind of probe to figure out your limits of what you're going to do is almost the next 2 steps. Apply critical thinking. Well, run out the logic. And so you can be like, this is where it's going. This is why they want to say, have them explain to you the logic of the decision. And especially if you find people making decisions that the decisions end up being, let's say it's a people pleasing decision. You can tell that they're not making decisions based on vision. They're making decisions based on their survival needs. And so they're trying to manipulate how people see them. So whatever that is, one of the ways to play with this critical thinking logic part is to do the 5 whys. We call the kindergartner 5 whys. Like a little kid who's 5 years old who says, well, why? And I want to do this. Well, why do you want to do this? Because it's going to be effective. Well, why do you think it's going to be effective? Well, because I've done it before. Why was it effective before? And why did it matter? And you kind of like, why, all the way down to hopefully, oh, well, I'm trying to make someone else happy and blah, blah, blah. Critical thinking. 1, they know the limitations, but 2, the critical thinking part, I really feel like this is really important. It kind of runs out the process. But then the last one, analytic-driven decisions or evidence. A couple ways to think about this, right? If they're making decisions in corporations, like, do they have any evidence or proof that the decision they're making is going to get the result? That's why the experiment thing, where you're like, did you get new data? So instead of them making a decision, it's overly permanent, you could simply say, hey, why don't you make a decision that will get you more information? So you have the analytics to back your decision up. That's a good one. Here's the other thing though. Clients will often tell me, how's your team doing? I'll say, how's your team handling the new salesperson you brought in? Let's say, oh, handling it great. Cool. How do you know that? Like, how do you know? And so often people will give you their opinion as if it's fact about the state of their team, about the impact they had, about the quality of decision. And so this third one, while not necessarily talking about that, really for me reminds me of this, where leaders will often say, yeah, they're doing fine, or this is what's happening. You're like, really? Okay, real quick, how do you know that's what's happening? And you probe in, you discover they really don't have any data on it. And so part of what you want to do is helping them be great leaders is 1, they know their limitations. 2, are they trying to apply some logic? And 3, where are they getting information from? I think that's a really great place to start. What do you think of this chapter? Let me know.